Screencastify and make a simple, easy, fast screencast. So, what is a screencast, you may be wondering? Well, a screencast is a digital video recording of your computer screen that usually includes some audio narration. So currently, we are working in more of a synchronous versus asynchronous environment. Synchronous meaning you're all here in this virtual meeting with me, video conferencing, where we have a moderator, Jessica. Thank you so much for being the person moderating our chat. And we are live streaming what's happening right now. We are communicating in real time. And this is great for feedback, for building community. But there also might be times where you need some asynchronous learning. Asynchronous learning is where all the students are learning at different times. It is not a live communication. It is a recorded communication. What's great about it, though, is that it really does allow your students to learn at their own pace, at their own time. So say you have set up a virtual meeting with your students at 10 o'clock every morning. Well, some of your students might not be able to come at 10 o'clock every morning. So you can record that video and then they can watch it at their own time. Then it would be moving it from synchronous to asynchronous. Now, screencasts are asynchronous learning, and some ways that you could use it is as a think about it as your new direct instruction tool. The key concepts that you might need to relay to your students, it's a great way to just record a video of you doing that part. Maybe you also want to think about using it for a morning welcome message to give your students your bright smiling face in the morning, or make it a nice goofy morning welcome message. Dress up in a costume, sing a song to them. Keep the spirits high during this isolated period of our lives. You might want to use a screencast to kind of like review the day with your students as well, saying, okay guys, today's Tuesday. What we're going to do is we're going to have 4 webinars. Those webinars are going to include bum, 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 bum. By the end of the day, I want you guys to have the following done, like making a to-do list with them or something like that. It's also really great if you want a different way to review your students' work. Say you assign a writing assignment to your students in a Google Doc. Well, you can always go through and do commenting feature, or you can take a screencast and use the annotation tool to go over certain parts and really communicate the message that you want about what changes you want to see in that writing assignment. Another great way to use screencasts is to demonstrate a new application like Newsella or Seesaw. So you can take a screencast of yourself and the pattern you're using on the screen to show them those different steps. So there's lots of different ways you can use screencasts to record yourself and provide some asynchronous instruction for your students. Now, the next part, what we're going to do, you want to make sure if you are going to go along with me, like actually do the steps I'm going to go through, you want to make sure that you are in a Google Chrome browser for the next piece, okay? And again, here is the link to the slide deck I'm working on.
I got it.
Thank you. Okay, so here we're going to go. So many of you have been wondering and asking about free versus paid. And so I just wanted, before we go any further, to go over that before we download the version of Screencastify to our Chrome browser. Right now, Screencastify has now been is a vetted and approved San Francisco Unified School District tool that teachers can use, which means that we now will have contracts to use to purchase Screencastify. So you can all join today and get the free version. And with the free version, basically the major limitations is your screencast has to be 5 minutes or under. After 5 minutes, it's going to just cut you off, okay? Versus the unlimited version that allows you to make a screencast for as long as you want. Let it be known that the research shows that short, concise instructional videos without seeing the person, the video or the thumbnail of the person and the embedded webcam is the best way to provide the instruction in this kind of format, just because it doesn't leave for much distraction. And keeping that content really chunked out helps your students to digest it the best that they can. But that being said, if you want the unlimited version, what can happen is this. At your school site, you need to get a group of 5 teachers who want to have Screencastify to use as a tool in the unlimited setting. And if you have 5 students, the site can make a purchase of the education version using an independent service agreement, an ISA, that your admin can help you with. And you email Aiden and the sales team at Screencastify. This is in the notes down here, just so you know. And then what it will do is it will make it $12 per teacher. So instead of being $29 per teacher, it will be $12 per teacher. So again, I'm going to repeat that. If you want to go to the unlimited version of Screencastify, which would allow you to make videos more than 5 minutes and have some editing features that you don't have in the free version, you need 5 teachers, your admin, and an ISA agreement. And then you email all of that to Aiden and the sales team at Screencastify, and that will turn you into having the unlimited version. That being said, the free version really does allow you to make as many videos as you like for up to 5 minutes with a little bit of like clipping between the pieces, which I'll go over with you. So the next step we're going to do is I'm going to show you the steps for downloading Screencastify to your Chrome extension. And then note that if you want to try along with me, go right ahead. Or if not, you'll have the steps right here that you can come back to in this slide deck to help you walk through it when you're on your own. So you go to a new tab in your Chrome browser, and then we go to the Chrome Web Store. When you go there, you select extensions and go to Screencastify. And I'm going to show you how that works right now. I'm going to open a new tab on my Chrome browser, and I'm going to go to the Chrome Web Store. And up in the top right, or top left, excuse me, I'm going to search the store for Screencastify. And when I hit enter, the extension for Screencastify comes up. And then I can add it to Chrome. Now, once I add it to Chrome, I get this pop-up window, and it asks me if I want to add that extension. And I click on this little button right here that says Add Extension. And then it's working to add Screencastify to my Chrome browser. Now, what will happen is you now see I have a pop-up window that tells me it's been added to my Chrome. And it's right here on the top right where my Chrome extensions are. From there, what I can do is click on Screencastify, the button on the top right in my extensions section, and it opens up a new page for me to set up my Screencastify.
Hey, Devorah.
Yeah?
Can you go back and show how to get to the web store one more time? A couple people missed that.
Sure. So when you open up a new browser page, just add a new tab, put Screencastify in the top left and hit enter. And up will come Screencastify, and you click Add to Chrome. You'll see now it says rate it instead of add to Chrome because I have just added Screencastify to my extensions account in Chrome.
Thank you.
And once I have done that, you'll notice you see this arrow for the icon for Screencastify in my Chrome browser window in the top right section. And when you click on that, it will prompt you to open a new tab, or it will actually open a new tab for you called Screencastify Setup. Once you're in Screencastify Setup, you'll notice there's this piece right here, which is highly recommended, which says automatically save videos to Google Drive. You want to make sure that's enabled, and you want to sign in with your San Francisco Unified School District Google credentials here, where it says sign in with Google. Are we okay to move on, Jessica?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to click and sign in with Google. And it will bring me to my Screencastify setup page, where it's going to ask me to use my microphone and my camera. And please excuse my computer's running a little slow. It's got a lot of things happening right now. But you can see that we are now still in step 1, setting up the permissions for Screencastify on my desktop. And to unlock all features, it asks to enable the following permissions, which is the camera and the microphone and the drawing and annotation tools. They're already checked for you, so you can just click next. Yeah?
A couple people said that it's taking a little bit longer, and they wondered if you could just pause for a second so that they could let it catch up a little bit. In that meantime, Christina had a question about when I go to set up Screencastify, I get this pop-up and ask me to allow permissions for camera and microphone and all these tools. And it's saying that it's requesting additional permissions to that allows you to read and change all data on websites you visit. I'm so glad that you're looking at that and thinking like, oh, this maybe is a red flag and I shouldn't go any further. I'm so glad that that was kind of a red flag to you. Most of the time, that is a good time to be like, oh, stop, abort, don't do this. In this case, Screencastify is a district-approved tool, and so the district has already done all the work of making sure that it's safe and it's not gonna, be spying on you or any of that kind of stuff. And so, because it's a district-approved tool, you can go ahead and accept and know that your data and your information and your computer and stuff are safe. So thank you so much for asking that question. And then before we start up, Devorah, someone had a question a while back about captions and closed captions. Does Screencastify add closed captions for you, or do you have to do that separately using YouTube or something?
Yeah, we will get into that a little bit later.
Okay, great.
I will go over those options with you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so here we are in Screencastify setup, still working on step 1, signing in with Google and setting up your permissions. So like Jessica said, this is a San Francisco Unified Vetted tool. So you can just click on that big blue button that says next. And when the pop-up window comes up and asks if you can read and change all your data, this is the message that we're talking about. We're just going to click allow. And once you have done that, hooray! You have successfully added Screencastify to your Chrome browser. And you'll notice I get this little pop-up window here in the top right that says, click the icon in your toolbar to get started with Screencastify. Before we go there, well, let's do it. I'm going to come and I'm going to click on my icon. So again, that icon is going to be here in your extensions area, right next to your name. And when you click on it, Something's supposed to happen, but my screen is, there we go. I apologize, you guys. My computer is currently compressing a video as it's running this meeting, so it's a little delayed. Okay. So when you click on the icon in the top right under extensions, it will pop up this window for you. And we're going to go over each of these different pieces right now. Okay, so I'm going to be jumping back into the presentation to go over these different pieces and talk about the steps of how you build a Screencastify video. So I'm going to go into presentation mode. And one thing, since the question of closed captions came out, is when you're in presenting mode with Google Slide Deck, with a Google Slide Deck, which is what I have right now, you get this little gray bar at the bottom. And in the middle section, there is a section called Captions. And if you click on the captions and turn that on, you can have closed captions on your slide deck. Now, this is not part of Screencastify, but it is a part of the Google Slide Deck features in presenting mode. And this is one way you could do a screencast with a Google Slide Deck, turn on your captions, and record to have closed captions. This is one way. When you're looking at the options available to you, you can see that there's 3 different options available as far as your screencasts go. One of them is webcam, where it's just your picture of your face and the audio. And that's a great way to do like a morning message for your students or a goofy message to your students to get them smiling in this world that we've walked into. The second option is desktop, where it's a video of all the things you're doing with your mouse on the screen and an audio of your voice. Using desktop is a great way to demonstrate to your students how to use a new tool that you are introducing to them. And along with that, you can have the option of adding the embedded camera into that, either into the desktop view, where along with your actions you're taking on the screen and the audio of your voice, they would have a little thumbnail picture of you as well. If you want to come back into this slide deck later, there are some examples of different screencasts available for you to view. So, now that we've downloaded the screencasting app, we've talked about free versus premium, we've talked about the 3 different views. Now I'd like us to talk a little bit about the process. So just as you wouldn't go in full force without thinking about your lesson that you are going to teach, planning a screencast does require some careful planning. Personally, I hesitate because, as you can tell when I'm even doing this webinar with you, sometimes I forget what I want to say or I forget what I want to do. So my first recommendation in the planning of your screencast is to think about developing an outline or a storyboard. Maybe just come up with what pictures you want or what maybe build it out in the slide deck. And then number 2, write out the script. Once you've done those things, once you've like really designed out the entire whole 5 minutes, I don't know about you, but talking for 5 minutes is a lot if it's not scripted. Do a trial run. And then go ahead and record. And finally, check for understanding. Make sure that your students have watched the video through a little quick check for understanding. So I have some tips and tricks for you. Number 1, hook the audience in the beginning. Come up with a nice little welcome message. And make sure, just like you would do when you're introducing a lesson in the classroom with your students, that you go over the topic and the objectives so that everybody knows what it is that they're going to be learning that day. Next tip and trick is to make sure that your background is not distracting. The other day I was sitting here, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's this light right behind me, and I had that light on, and it was doing something similar to this person's image right here. And my partner, Ricardo, had to ask me to turn the light off because it was just beaming in his face. So really make sure that your background is not distracting. Next, choose a quiet location to record. Make sure your phone is on silent. Make sure you've turned off your notifications and all of those things, because there would be nothing worse than having a perfect run through of your recorded message with a big, huge, ringing, blasting phone to mess it all up. So think about all of these different little pieces before you hit the record button. And practice. Check it out. Practice and rehearse before you record. And finally, try and keep it on the shorter side. Remember that as humans, we can only take in a certain amount of information at a time. And I bet, given that it is 3:22, you guys are probably overloaded with information. I know I am a bit tired. So really try and think about what are those key points you need to get through for instruction for your instructional videos. Okay, so we've kind of gone over this workflow, and this is where it is. You write the script, you practice, you record, and you check for understanding. Jessica, do we have any questions about that?
No questions. Teresa shared a really great point about making sure your background is not giving away private information like your location. So like if people can see a Target store through the window behind you, they could potentially maybe figure out where you live. And so that's actually a really great consideration, is pick a background that's not distracting, that maybe is solid, that doesn't have anything moving behind it. Devorah talked about like a light, not having a light behind it. Same idea. Thanks,
I love that idea. Thank you for bringing that up. We are all learners here, so I really appreciate when you guys can contribute what your best practices that you're doing with your videos as well. Okay, so now that we've talked about the workflow, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate to you how to make a screencast. Now, let's be honest, I haven't written the script. I'm going to do a practice run with you while I'm recording. So I am doing what I am asking you not to do, but just for demonstration purposes right now. So I'm going to come up to that top right icon where it says Screencastify, and I'm going to click on that icon. And then I'm going to go through the settings once it pops up. Again, you have the option of a browser tab, your desktop, or webcam only. And for this,
I'm sorry, may I pause you for a second before you jump into this? Some people are asking questions about what checks for understanding would look like on Screencastify. Can you explain a little more about how you could do that?
Yeah, in fact, I wanted to make the video and then I was going to go over that.
Even better. Great. We will wait excitedly for that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to pick desktop, and I'm going to check my microphone. And you can see over here, right next to my microphone, there's this little bar going up and down, and it's in green right now. But if I talk really loud, it gets a little yellow. Be aware of that, keeping your tone, not for screaming at her into the, hi everybody, can you really hear me? Kind of idea. Also, if I want to have an embedded camera, webcam, I can enable it. I'll be honest and say it's a little distracting for me, so I'm going to keep mine off for this video. And then underneath that, I have this, it's like in italics and a little gray. It says show more options. And if I click that, you can see that I have my countdown. And currently it's on 3 seconds, but if I click on this drop-down arrow, I can go and change it to 3 seconds, 5 seconds, or 10 seconds. So make sure that you're putting it in the one that you really want. Like, I like 5 seconds because that allows me to have my countdown started, open up the tab that I want to get started with my screencast and be ready for learning. And I also like to enable my drawing tools so that I can use those for annotation. When I have set up my pop-up window for my recording the way I need it, then I'm going to come to this big blue button and I'm going to hit record. So here we go. I'm going to hit record and then I'm going to open up Chrome and I'm going to show people how to use this. Oh, what happened? Oh, okay, guys, I'm sorry. We just had a little bit of technical difficulties. It did not. Oh, there it is. The window didn't pop up over here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to. I don't know why this is happening the way it is. Excuse me.
Which part of it?
Okay, so I'm going to click on my entire screen and I'm going to hit share. And then I'm going to come into Chrome. And now I am recording. So hi guys, if you want to go to Chrome to get the extension, what you're going to do is come to the Chrome Web Store, and on the top right here, you're going to click on extensions and put in Screencastify, type it in. And once you've done that, hit enter on your keyboard and up it will pop and you can click on Chrome. Once you've done that, it will walk you through some processes to download that video. Now you can see once I stop recording, it is opening up a new tab to show me my recorded video. And I have to say this little video tutorial page is really great. So I'm going to take us through this tour and let it show us around. So when I click on show me around, it's first going to tell us a couple pieces. Now what we're looking at right now, you guys, is the video that I just took. At the bottom, you have this piece has two scissors at the beginning and the end of it. That's how you trim your video. Okay, next you have, when you make a recording, it will give you an automatic untitled video that you can come in later and retitle. I highly recommend that you do that. It does give you the date and a timestamp. However, you probably want to make sure that it's labeled so that you can refer back to it with your students. Next, and this is another reason why you want to make a clear title for your video, is because when you make that video, you can click and copy it right into your Google Drive or get a shareable link that you can use to share with your students. Another ways that you can share the video is you can share it to Classroom or you can publish it to YouTube. Now this is also the place when you publish it to YouTube where you can add in some closed captionings. So if you want to have closed captionings with your video, I recommend that you come to the share video section and click publish it to YouTube and then bring it into YouTube and add in the video the closed captioning settings, because it will automatically generate closed captionings with that video for you. Then you also have the option to download or export your video from your desktop or as an MP4. And then if you do get the unlimited version, you can open up the editor and edit the video that you just created. And that's basically how it goes. So now that I have my video, I'm going to come up to the top where it says Untitled and put in how to get Screencastify in Chrome. Okay. Once I've done that, I can do a couple things. I can go and click in share and share directly to a classroom that I have created for my students. I can come in to, I press on that button, and then what it does is it opens up a pop-up window here, and you can see I'm now connecting with Google Classroom, and I have to choose a class to put it into. So I can come in here and I can say I want to put it into a specific classroom, and then it asks me what action I want to create. And now this is where that check for understanding can come in. You can use a Google form and add the video into a Google form to check for understanding, or you can do it directly here into your classroom by choosing the action, ask a question. So I can click ask a question and then press this blue button at the bottom right-hand corner called Go. And what it does, and I'm going to make this a little bit larger so you guys can see, is it allows me to create that question in my Google Classroom. So I can come into the instructions and I can say, please watch this video and answer the following question. And then I can put here, how can you use Screencastify with your students? And I can leave it a short answer, or I can make it into a multiple choice. I'm going to leave it as a short answer. Then I'm going to come over here. And just to double check what classroom it's in, I can click here. If I only wanted to send this video to a specific students, excuse me, I could do that. I could make it have points to be graded, or I can set it to be ungraded. I can set the due date. And let's not forget the important piece of organization when we're going to go Google Classroom, right, Jessica?
Yes, yes, yes.
By adding in a topic or putting it into a topic, okay? Once I've done that, I can set the settings that students can reply to each other or not, but I might want to put that students can edit their answer. Because again, with that asynchronous learning, students might come back into that video that you just made and want to change their answer. And then another piece that's really great is this big green button up at the top right. If you click on that arrow, you can ask, schedule, or save draft. Now, I don't know about you, but as a teacher using Google Classroom, I love save draft. It's kind of my favorite thing. So I'm going to click save draft and save that draft. And then I might go back into Google Classroom and put a little bit more information in there. Or I can click right here on this bottom left, right, and click to view it. So
if it is a draft, you'll need to go back in and publish it before students can see it. You have to post it before students can see it.
Yes, I do really appreciate that piece. The next thing I'm going to go over is publish to YouTube. So you can see I can click on publish YouTube. I can, now Jessica.
Yes.
You want to talk about the privacy settings in YouTube really quick for everyone?
Yeah. So YouTube has 3 levels of privacy settings, as you can see there on the screen. There's private, where just you can see it. So anytime you upload a video to YouTube, you can make it so that only you can see it. That is an option. There's public, which means that anybody can find it. They can search in the search bar and they can find it. And sometimes that makes sense. If you're not sharing any confidential information, if you don't mind that anybody in the world can see your video, that is certainly is an option that you could make it public. There's also the third option of unlisted, and that's kind of like anyone with the link can see it. Links, however, can be shared. A student can take a link and give it to their cousin in New York, and now their cousin can share it to all of their friends. So unlisted doesn't mean that you can control who sees it. It's not searchable in YouTube, but it still essentially can be viewed by anyone. So just some good things to know around your YouTube sharing.
Okay, so I'm gonna put it as unlisted and then say screencast, right? And then I can upload it. I believe that I have to have it in my own channel. So I would go through here, sign in as myself. And now I can publish it or upload it to my YouTube. And once I do that, I can then go into my YouTube account to this video in my channel and add those closed captions to it. Okay, so if I go and view on YouTube, and now I am recording. So hi guys, if you see it there. And then I can go in and add I can add, Jessica?
Yes.
I can add the captions.
That's in the YouTube studio. So I believe it's in your account where you can have it auto-generate captions for you. So you're kind of like in view mode and you need to be inside your...
Let me go to edit. There we go.
Edit video. There it is.
Okay, so then you click on, and there is definitely some steps to this and some learning for it. However, you do have the ability to add your closed caption pieces in here. You also can say this is made for kids. And then you can put in the captions. Where are they?
I think it's under video language. Right there, Rick, next to where you clicked.
There we go.
You can choose which language it's in and it can auto-generate some captions for you. Edward asked a great question while you're doing that why would you want to publish to YouTube if it's just for your class? And you may not want to. If this is something just for your students, you don't want anyone else to see it, you can always save your video and upload it to Drive and have it in Drive, and then it works just like a Drive file where you can share it with specific people. You can post that link in Classroom or in Seesaw. That YouTube may not be the fit for you, and that's totally okay.
Yeah, this is really if you want to go to the, again, this is a process to go through and add the closed captions to it. I've shown you two different ways that you can create those closed captions with your instructional videos. But I'm going to stop presenting for just a second. One way is to, again, create a slide deck and record your screencast and add captions in Google Slide Deck. The other is to do that upload to YouTube. Okay, so I'm gonna go back into my presentation for just a second. Ooh, I think my new stool's coming. Did my new stool come? And just go a little bit back into the check for understanding, okay? So again, we talked about you can post it to Classroom and ask a question. You can also take your video, if you can put it into YouTube, say, and then make it into a Google form. Those are two different options available. In the slide deck, I've also put in some instruction around saving that to Classroom. And then the last thing that I have before we go into Q&A is thinking about how can you have your students create screencasts, well, again, you may not want all of your students, depending on what level or grade level you teach, to be creating screencasts with Screencastify, but we do have some tools that are great, like Adobe Spark Video and Seesaw, that you can use, because again, a lot of our students are using Chromebooks and they cannot download Chrome extensions. So I just wanted to make sure that while you're thinking about different videos that your students could create, that you have some options available to you. So that is how you use screencasting. It's a pretty easy to use tool. That screencasting slide deck is there for you. Please feel free to share it however you want. Is there any questions?
We do. We have some questions around captioning and multiple languages. You might have students that speak multiple languages. If you're using YouTube, you're uploading your video to YouTube, YouTube will auto caption it in the language that the video is in, but YouTube does not have an auto translation feature. You can add a separate set of subtitles in another language, but you'd have to translate them yourself. YouTube will not auto translate any captions or anything like that. So that's the way that you could do that. Again, if you speak the other language you wanted, and if you're maybe a bilingual teacher and you speak both languages, you can have it auto-generate the captions in the language the video is in, and then add your own captions in the other language, but it won't do that for you.
And this is another place where, or another reason why writing out a script is a great way to also, you can take that script and then use Google Translate and translate it into another language and have that available for your students as well while they're watching the video. So there's multiple reasons why when you create a script, you can really, it can be beneficial for not only you, but also your students.
And then we're having some questions around, do students need the Screencastify extension to watch videos? Do they have to have an app to watch the videos? What's required to watch the videos?
To watch the videos, like Jessica was saying, it will go and download right into your Google Drive, and you can share that link and it will open in their Chrome browser and they can watch the video right there. Or you can download it into an MP4 file, and that can be viewed in a QuickTime video, or in, like, say, a Windows machine. It can be viewed with any video playing software.
Great. Ruth Ann, we answered Ruth Ann's question about, she wants him to clarify what was just said about if students can use this on Chromebooks. Yes, students can watch videos on Chromebooks. What Devora has shown is the ability to create a video, and that's not what you're having students do.
Yeah. And also, what the students are limited on the Chromebook is that they are not allowed to add extensions to their Chromebook.
Right, so they can't add the Screencastify extension to make a Screencastify video, but that's not what you're asking them to do. You're asking them to watch your video, which they can do.
Yeah.
There was a, I think maybe we got all the questions. I think I've answered all of them. I think so.
So far as asking, can it be viewed from a cell phone? Yeah, it can. You can download the Chrome app to a phone, and it will work just like it works if they have the link.
Right, so essentially you're making a video file, and you can share that video file in different ways. You can put it in Classroom, so if they're on a phone, they have the Classroom app, they can see it there. If you're putting it in Seesaw, they've got the Seesaw app, they can see it there. And so there's many different ways that you can share the video. So it just kind of depends on how you share it as to what they'll need on a phone to be able to watch it. There was a question also about how can I watch these webinars later, because maybe you wanted to watch this time, but you want to like go along with it, watch it again and go along with it. I'm going to put a link to the webinars recording website. Please feel free to check that out. Watch those videos. I upload the videos every single night, so